What is the meaning of life? Why are we here? The biggest questions of all. The questions that have dogged the greatest minds for centuries. It makes me look up to the heavens in awe at our vast, magnificent universe and wonder at the possibilities of what life is all about. Join me on a journey to understand more about who we are, why we're here, and to discover more happiness, meaning, and purpose.
Emotions are energy in motion. Now, when emotions are flowing normally, they're designed to come, be experienced, and once their message has been understood, they are released. Just like these waves, they come and they go, they're released. However, when growing up, sometimes we learn that certain emotions are unacceptable to be expressed.
As children, we may have been told, don't be angry, don't be afraid, be strong. We learn to resist our emotions, to push our emotions out of our awareness because they're uncomfortable. And so that emotion, that energy in motion, gets stuck and keeps affecting us subconsciously. We feel bad or guilty for having the emotion. And these emotions can then take their toll on our physical and mental health. Instead, we need to validate, love, and accept ourselves for having those emotions. It's okay. If we don't address and validate our emotions, then we repress them. Then these emotions become unresolved emotions, which are stored as a conditioning. Then these unresolved emotions keep coming up from our subconscious and affecting us. Alternatively, when an emotion comes up, we may identify with that emotion and become overwhelmed by it. This can also deepen the conditioning, and therefore we put more dirt back into the bowl. Daily meditation is a great way of cleansing the build-up of unresolved emotions. However, over time, if these unresolved emotions don't come and go like waves, they instead stay stuck in our body as a conditioning.
As an example, we tend to feel fear and hatred, those two emotions, in the center of the chest, in the heart area. We tend to feel guilt and shame and sadness around the throat region. And we feel anger in the head, a tightness around this kind of area. Now, I'm not talking about the heartfelt feelings such as love, compassion, connection to others. I'm talking about emotions that cause us distress. Gross emotions like fear and anger can prevent us from feeling the more subtle emotions of love and compassion. They can actually hide those emotions and find it more difficult to feel them. We can only release these stuck emotions in the center of our bodies, by feeling them fully first. You can only drop something if you're holding it first. So if I'm holding this rock, only then can I drop it. And the secret is in surrendering our emotions. Here's a quick and simple technique that you can use at any time, wherever you are, when you feel these stuck emotions in the center of your body or in your head. Let's close our eyes to experience this.
Firstly, connecting to something bigger than yourself that represents love. Maybe a figure from your religion or tradition, or just nature or a flower. You are being taken care of by a larger force, and it's just that trusting and letting go, feeling safe. Now, once you connect with that, deliberately tune into the emotion that you're experiencing. Emotions have two components: the emotional thoughts in the mind and the physical sensations in the body. Tune into those physical sensations and feelings. They could be anywhere in your body, but generally they tend to be in the central column of your body. Don't hide away from those emotions. Don't resist them, because what you resist persists. Be open to feeling the sensations as much as possible. Feel the sensations. Embrace them. Then take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, imagine surrendering the emotion to someone or something that represents love. You may say in your mind, "I release and let go of the fear," or whatever words work for you. Then, go back to the emotion, feel it fully again, and then breathe it out, connect with the oneness and surrender it again. I release and let go. Remember that you're not resisting the emotion. You are owning the emotion and then releasing them. Now, this is important. Don't force the emotion to go. Don't have that expectation. Just release it without any attachments. Keep repeating this conscious breathing and surrendering. I release and let go. Until you feel that stillness and presence returning and the emotion reducing. As you do this, some realizations may come to you. You may understand more about the situation, or you may instantly shift perspective. As you bring the presence of consciousness and surrender to any situation and any emotion, you heal it. Deep breathing is the key here. You can also use this process to surrender any unwanted desires and resistances. Okay, so now we can open our eyes. Welcome back.
Now, if an emotion is really stuck, if it feels really overwhelming, then this means that there's probably some further introspection required, some further reflection on where the emotion is coming from. What is the emotion telling us about our beliefs and perspectives on life? What are we hanging on to? Sometimes we don't want to let go of our emotions because of our ego. We get into a game of right and wrong. This person behaved like this. It's unacceptable. I deserve to be angry. Maybe it was bad what that person did or that situation, but we justify our emotions through our judgments of others. I deserve to stay angry at this person. But would you rather be right or happy? If we keep trying to justify our emotional reactions, then we're the ones who suffer, not the other person. So can we let go of our judgments and let go of our emotions for our own sake?
You can listen to a meditation called Soften and Flow, which is one of the meditations available throughout the experiment or in the app. This meditation is designed to release emotions which are stuck in the body. When we're going through a difficult time, through storms of emotions, what can help us release those emotions is music, song, and dance. Because they take you beyond the mind and connect you to something bigger. Often people say that a piece of music touches their soul. Music is the soundtrack of the soul, played through the instrument of the heart. Music and its vibrations change our state. They shift us out of our negative patterns. I advise singing along to karaoke tracks. Most of them are free on YouTube. Just type the name of your favourite song, followed by the word karaoke, and it will be there. And sing at the top of your voice as if no one's watching. This can help us to release negative emotions and shift our state, shift our energy. Also, what can help us release emotions is to regularly listen to music which is sacred. That which connects us to our source. Remember at the beginning of the film, we said that scientists believe that everything in the universe may be made up of tiny vibrating strings. And music, singing, chanting, they all have a certain positive vibration that can affect our mental and physical health, as well as the environment around us. And finally, what can also help us shift our state is to get some aerobic exercise, or get out into nature and greenery. Or maybe we can meet people, even when we don't feel like it. This is taking responsibility for our moods and how we feel, rather than feeling a victim of our moods. If emotions are ignored and not addressed, this can lead to illness. Illnesses can sometimes reveal to us a deeper message about ourselves and our lives. How are we living our lives? What is actually holding us back emotionally or spiritually? If we take some time out to not judge our illness negatively, but instead to see the illness as maybe carrying a deeper message to change something about ourselves, if we can do that, then we can move through the illness with awareness.
Now, if you experience very difficult emotions over a sustained period of time, then it's important to seek out a professional who can help you to release those emotions and release the past. We have many professional practitioners at our centre who regularly help people release these kinds of emotions.
Sometimes emotions stay stuck because a part of us actually gains something from not letting the emotion go. Sometimes this is called secondary gains, and we may not even be aware of what that gain actually is. For example, I may feel guilty about something from the past, but the past is gone. Why should I still be holding on to the guilt? A part of us may feel that I did something wrong, but at least I'm feeling guilty about it, so I'm punishing myself for what I did. Another example is, if I hold on to fear, at least that means I don't have to actually face the future. Or I may hold on to anger, because then I prove that I'm right. It's worth reflecting on the subtle excuses our minds make to hold on to the past. What about when we're feeling really miserable, depressed, maybe intense restlessness or agitation? And whatever we seem to do, nothing seems to help. In those situations, we're in the middle of a storm of emotion. Now, what happens when a ship is in a storm? Well, it has to just maybe stop and ride out the storm. In the same way, we can realize that emotions come and go. Difficulties come and go, just like waves rising and falling on the ocean. This too will pass. And rather than resisting the storm, we can go deep into it, safe in the knowledge that we are being taken care of. As bad as it feels, this storm may help us grow in some way. We can realize that we aren't the ship on the ocean. We are the entire blue ocean. We are much bigger, we are vast, compared to the small storms that arise in our minds. Is it wrong to show emotion? Is it wrong to show anger? Some people tell us to express our emotions and not repress them. Others tell us that expressing raw emotions of anger is immature. So what's the right answer here?
It's often about how we express our anger. When we're expressing it, have we lost it? Has the anger overtaken us and we've lost our awareness? If that emotion is particularly raw and powerful, then it's often best not to express it straight away, but instead to be by ourselves. I often find being in nature is a great way of calming the mind down. You can also use the surrender process to release those raw emotions. And once we've calmed down, can we express our emotion more appropriately? Can we express it calmly and talk it through with the other person?
In relationships, disagreements are bound to come up, and they can trigger intense emotions of hurt, anger, or fear. But often, the intensity of those emotions is coming from our past. It's important that we take responsibility for our own reactions and release these raw emotions on our own, using these techniques. Because otherwise, it's just two reactive emotional minds communicating, rather than two calm intellects. If we accuse and blame others, we make them feel guilty, defensive, we cause hurt, and we create disunity. If we get into that kind of argument, the ego gets involved and we only care about being right, not doing the right thing. If someone makes a mistake, can we instead be magnanimous? Can we point out the mistake from a compassionate place of love once the emotion has been released, rather than accusing and blaming? This is compassionate communication and will dissolve the disunity or disharmony. One of the secrets to relationships is compassionate communication rather than reacting from our past hurts. In the same way, sometimes it is right to show anger purposefully. For example, a mother may get angry at her children when required, but she can still come from a place of love. Here is a summary of day 10. Turbulent emotions can shake our peace, and the most common are anger or guilt about the past, or fear and worry about the future. Emotions are designed to come and go like waves. But emotions can persist for two reasons. If we repress these emotions and don't validate them, then we can create a new conditioning within us. Secondly, if we overindulge that emotion and identify with that emotion, then we can magnify the emotion. Instead, we can validate the emotion and accept and love ourselves for having it. We can choose to not identify with the emotion, but simply observe it within us. We can identify with the space within which emotions are experienced, rather than being identified with our emotions. This helps us to reduce our conditionings. Emotions can stay stuck if we hold on to the conditioning behind them, or if we try to justify them. We can self-inquire, either by ourselves or with a coach, to see which conditioning is making our emotions stick. We can express emotions safely once we allow ourselves to calm down first. What practical tool of awareness can we take away from today's video? How can we practically let go of our stuck emotions? Well, we have 5 options here. Firstly, we can observe our emotions without judgment and take responsibility for our moods. We can also observe our emotions with compassion for our dear beloved minds. An emotion is like a wave, but we are like the vast still ocean that can absorb the wave easily. This reduces our conditionings. We can use the surrendering emotions technique to let go of emotions in our body by surrendering our emotions to a figure that represents love. We can also use the soften and flow meditation to let go of really stuck emotions. We can listen to music, song or dance, or get some exercise. Positive vibrations help us let go. If emotions linger, we can deeply self-inquire by ourselves or with a friend or a coach to see if we're holding on to something, maybe a conditioning or the past or some other underlying reason. A good question to ask oneself is, what conditioning is behind this emotion? What's really bothering me?